Hey, welcome to Five Tool. Another exciting week here for us. We've got some more likes and more people that are joining our community. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing and just inviting your friends and your coaches and your networks to be a part of our Five Tool family. Can't tell you how much it means to me just to know that I have an opportunity to invest in people and to teach people and to encourage and to give hope and all of those things that have been given to me, and I just want to turn around and share those to other people. So thank you guys. Appreciate that. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep growing this ministry, and it'll be exciting when it's all said and done. And we've all been a part of helping a lot of people around the country, and so thank you for that. Today, I want to dig right in to our topic, and I have tried really hard not to do this. In fact, our first message in Five Tool was actually in August when I was in Florida with my son for the All-American Games, and we're here in October now, and I have never done a message on Five Tool that I also preached at my church. I felt just the timing of it all. I felt that Five Tool needed to go in a different direction or needed to be taught something different than my church did. And I try to be very discerning to only teach the things that address questions or address topics that are actually happening in people's lives and that will actually take them forward. I don't want to just teach for the sake of teaching and waste people's time. I want the words that come out in the study that I take pretty seriously. I want it to mean something when it comes to you, whether it's through Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, or whether you're here on campus and you see me teach on stage. I want it to mean something. So when I study, I try to study topics or books of the Bible or verses found within the Bible that actually will address something that's going on in the lives of people that I'm in contact with. Today, it just so happened that I really felt like the message for my church this Sunday at Grace Crossing was one that resonated with both audiences. And I want to give you this message. I know some of you follow Five Tool that are also part of my Grace Crossing family. I appreciate that. Obviously, this will have a little bit different feel than what you hear Sunday, and that's okay. But I felt like the message itself was worth it to give to both crowds, if you will. And the topic is simply this. When I think of Jesus, Ephesians 5 says that we are called to imitate him. And in order to do that, we need to know who Jesus is to us. We need to know and to discern what he is to us. If we want to imitate someone, we need to know as much as we can about them so that we can then apply it to our own lives. And as I've been studying throughout this series that we've been doing at Grace, we actually asked our kids ministry to submit different ideas on how they would complete that sentence, Jesus is. And my daughter, believe it or not, very intelligent, very smart, love her relationship with God, even though she's only 9 years old. But the way she answered the question really got me thinking, and she said, Jesus is unpredictable. Jesus is unpredictable. Now, that can be taken a lot of ways. But one of the things that I think is most intriguing about Jesus is when he's dealing with people, especially people who have been in the wrong, the way that he handles those situations is very unpredictable. It doesn't always happen the way that we think it's going to happen. He doesn't always do what we think he's going to do. Jesus is the giver of second chances. And it's so amazing to watch how Jesus orchestrates that, especially through the New Testament, and the way he continually offers second chances to people, but in completely different ways. Now, I think what we have to understand is in the process of learning this about Jesus, and I'm going to take you through a story here in just a little bit. we have to understand that the way the world expresses value and expresses love is very different than the way God does. See, the world says if you're valuable enough, if you're important enough, if you mean enough, you'll be loved. God says because you're loved, you're valuable. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter where you come from, but because you are loved, you are valuable. And when you see this kind of trend resonating all throughout Scripture, you start to make sense of really what Jesus was here to do. Jesus was here to give value to people because they were loved. Jesus just loved people because he considered them valuable. He didn't make people earn his love. It wasn't about that. And the story that I want to show you really speaks to this. It's a story found in John, which is in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. And it's in the 8th chapter. You start at verse 1 and go all the way to verse 11. And what you see going on is this amazing interaction between Jesus and some Pharisees. And what we're told is in the first few verses there, Jesus has been teaching all the time. And he's tired, he's worn out. But what's going on is he goes back to the Mount of Olives. He sits down and he starts teaching again. And he has a crowd gathered around him. And in the middle of his teaching, these Pharisees bring a woman in front of the crowd, in front of Jesus. They drag her in front, and they caught her in the act of adultery. Now, I don't think I need to explain that a whole lot, but it literally says she was caught in the act. That's embarrassing. That's full of shame, full of all of those emotions that are going inside this woman. But these Pharisees did not care about the woman. They cared about the act that she'd committed. They cared about trapping Jesus, and they kept pushing into Jesus to say, look, the law says we should stone her. The law says we should judge her. The law says we should condemn her to be stoned, which would lead to death or very, very severe damage. And in that day, it would almost be impossible to recover from. All because of her action. Jesus, what we see in verse 7 is this. Take a look. Jesus bends down and starts to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept questioning him, he straightened up and he said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." And then he stooped down again and continued writing on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away, one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left with this woman. Jesus straightened up again and he asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She says, "No, sir, no one." "Then neither do I condemn you. Go now and leave your life of sin." I think this is one of the greatest second chance stories in all of Scripture. I absolutely love this story because there's so much in it, right? One, you have the element of the Pharisees not really caring about the woman, but they care about her wrongdoing. Jesus cared about the woman. He was willing to give the woman a second chance, but he didn't excuse what she'd done. He said, look, I want to give you a second chance. I'm not going to condemn you because of what you've done. I'm going to love you. I'm going to give you a second chance because of who you are. Now go and live your life, but live your life in a different way. You need to go live, but change some things so you can live in a way that reflects the second chance I've given you. That's all Jesus did. That's it. Now, when you think about this story and how it impacts our own lives, have you been given a second chance? I would argue that we all have. Everyone watching this video has been given a second chance by God. We all have. Some of us have been given many second chances, right? You know it, I know it. That's the reality. So some of us, we live in a place that is not uncommon where we don't feel we're worthy of a second chance. We feel like we've messed up so much, we've run so far away from God that we don't deserve a second chance. Now, how would you live life differently if I told you that you were already forgiven? You've already been given a second chance. All you have to do is ask for it, accept it, And part of the accepting it is go living a life that reflects your second chance that you've been given. And then you give second chances to other people. That's it. You already have grace and forgiveness and a second chance waiting for you. All you have to do is ask for it. God, I need your second chance. You accept it. Okay, God, now I'm going to go live and I'm going to change some things so that my life reflects the second chance that you've given me. And then you start giving second chances to people who have wronged you, people who have hurt you. Now, I know what you're saying, but Jason, they don't deserve a second chance. Here's the thing. Second chances aren't about them deserving it. The second chance is about you being who you are called to be. The second chance is about you living free. You see, Jesus sets you free when he gives you a second chance. But many of us go through our lives living as if we're still in prison. And it's this prison that we create because of our own guilt, because we don't give ourselves a second chance. Or it's a prison that we create because we don't give other people a second chance. We hold grudges, we hold anger, we hold bitterness, and we don't give a second chance. And it doesn't hurt them, it hurts us. So yes, we're free through Christ, absolutely. But you're imprisoned from yourself. There's this amazing verse in Galatians 5:1 where it says, Christ has truly set us free. Now, make sure you stay free. What Paul is saying there in the church in Galatia, in his letter to them, is, look, Christ has set you free. But it's up to you to actually live free. And a big component of this is not trapping yourselves with the anger and the hurt and the bitterness. People are going to hurt you. People are going to wrong you. I have been deeply hurt by people in my life. I get it. Some of you have stories of hurt and betrayal and abuse that would break our hearts if we knew. But here's what I'm going to tell you. When you can give someone a second chance, you are the one it sets free. When you give someone a second chance, you are putting the key into those handcuffs and unlocking them, and you can go live. That's what second chances are all about, is freedom. Now, how do we actually begin to do this? I want to give you 4 quick ways of how you can start giving someone, working toward a second chance. The first one is pray for them, and pray for them often. It is really hard to continue a grudge for someone you're praying for often. Number 2, release the debt. You feel like they owe you something. You need to release that. Many times we're hurt in ways that could never be paid back anyway. Release the debt and move on. You are the one that it will free. Number 3, set boundaries. If someone punches you in the face, you can give them a second chance. But it doesn't mean that you need to stand within arm's length of them. It's okay. You can give people a second chance, but set boundaries. Jesus did. He gave the woman a second chance, but said, hey, go and live your life, but sin no more. There was a second chance with boundaries, second chance with expectations. And finally, work toward your future. When you give someone a second chance, don't constantly remind them of the mistake they made. Don't hang it over their heads. Give them a second chance, and then both of you start working toward building your future together. Now, you may be thinking, well, how many second chances do I give? You give second chances until things are reconciled. And if it's not leading to reconciliation, then you need to move on. And you say, well, Jason, that's not in Scripture. It's all over Scripture. Romans 8, Matthew 18, it's all over. Even God's grace is limited to us moving toward Him and reconciling with Him. Guys, if you want to be free, accept God's second chance and give second chances to other people. Thanks for joining.